based on who Boots is now and based on who Pac used to be. Pac just ain't that guy no more. Mario, too slow, takes too many punches. But as far as that fight goes, man, I'm at the point now, I hate to see some of these guys come back and get in the ring. It's what they want to do.
Against Mario Barrios, you called most, if not all, of Manny's most substantive fights over the years. What do you think of that?
Sad. Just sad that he feels any reason or urge whatsoever.
Sized for fighting professionals, after the press conference, Manny Pacquiao fought Mario Barrios. The professionals couldn't hide the fact that they thought the fight would be fatal for Pacquiao because of the huge height difference between the two men. Barrios looked like a hungry giant compared to the older Pacquiao. Robert Garcia, a well-known manager who has worked with boxers like Anthony Joshua, Nonito Donaire, and Bam Rodriguez, has said what he thinks will happen when Pacquiao fights Barrios.
If you likes this, please subscribe, Fight File, and click the bell icon for more new boxing updates.
We're gonna be worried about what happens in that fight because, Barrios may be the easiest of the champions. Maybe that's why Manny decided to come back and give it a try. But even then, Barrios is young. Barrios is a strong guy, that could actually hurt Manny. Manny didn't look good in his last performance. This is a couple years ago, and it was kind of embarrassing to see Manny end up like that.
Speaking to EAS News, Garcia made it clear that he thought Barrios would beat Pacquiao. He said, "I got to go with Barrios because he's young and the champion, and Pacquiao is like 46 already. At that age, that's too much. That's like me getting in the ring, I'm 49. Fans and experts in the media are very upset about Manny Pacquiao's decision to fight Mario Barrios, the current World Boxing Council welterweight champion. Pacquiao is 46 years old and has never fought before. It was Adair Oladipo, a boxing analyst for DAZN, who said on May 13th,
that this is embarrassing, but it's also a bit disgraceful. Manny Pacquiao, as you just said, 46 years of age, hasn't won a fight in 6 years, and you're correct, he got beat quite handily by Yodinas Ugas 4 years ago. He had an exhibition fight a year ago, and he was awful in that. It was a draw because there were no judges and both men got their hand raised, but he got beat up in that. So it was clear to see that.
This is embarrassing, but it's also a bit disgraceful. Manny Pacquiao is 46 years old. It's clear to see that this guy can no longer do it at any level, let alone world championship level. Manny Pacquiao is a volume fighter. You can't do that kind of output at 46. It's just not going to be there. I find it almost comical what the WBC is doing. Robert Garcia told Boxing Scene, "I think we're going to be worried about what happens in that fight. Barrios is young and he's a strong guy who could actually hurt Manny. Manny didn't look good."
Can no longer do it at any level, let alone world championship level. Manny Pacquiao is a volume fighter. I mean, you look at sort of the fight cards in the last couple of weeks, and we've been bemoaning the fact that these guys have no output. Manny Pacquiao has been known over the years for output. You can't do that type of output at 46. It just is not going to be there. I find it it's just almost comical what they're doing. Look, fighters will always want to fight. I mean, boxers are littered with fighters that want to come back and have a fight.
In his last performance, that was a couple of years ago, and it was kind of embarrassing to see him end up that way. Hopefully he gets in really good shape, but I don't see things going right with Manny at this point. He later added, "It might be sad to see Manny back in the ring. All fans can do is hope Pacquiao avoids serious injury when he returns to the ring." Jim Lampley, a famous broadcaster, was upset to hear that Manny Pacquiao was going to fight Mario Barrios again in July. He said this on Chris Manx's show.
He gets in great shape. Maybe he gets a really good nutritionist or somebody that's going to help him very well. But I don't see things going right with Manny at this point anymore. Hopefully I'm wrong. I would love to see him become champion again because, like Paulie said, it gives all the other guys, a big fight, a big opportunity, and maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see Floyd come back and do a rematch with Manny, and it'll be a huge fight. I don't know. I really don't know. But it might be sad to see Manny back in.
Lampley said that in spite of Pacquiao's desire to come back at age 46, he thought it was. Said that the soon-to-be Hall of Famer had decided to do so.
However, on the other hand, fighters fight. It's what they do. Hey, Jim Lampley was gone for 6 years. Was it stupid for him to choose to come back and fall a fight? Was it a risk? Was there a possibility that he could embarrass himself?
Lampley said it's just sad that he feels any reason or urge whatsoever. However, on the other hand, fighters fight. It's what they do. The broadcaster, who recently returned to call the fights that took place in Times Square a few weeks ago, compared his situation to that of the Filipino boxer. He said, "I was back doing something I love and getting paid for it, so I understand why Manny wants to come back and do something he loves and get paid for it, but it's one thing to talk into a microphone. When you've been a few years away and you're a little bit older, it's entirely a different thing to go in and hit and get hit."
Embarrass himself and fall on his face. Are there some viewers and listeners out there who think that's exactly what he did? Sure, that's possible. But I was back doing something I love and I was getting paid for it. So I understand why Manny wants to come back and do something he loves and get paid for it. But it's one thing to talk into a microphone when you've been a few years away and you're a little bit older. It's entirely a different thing to go in and hit and get hit.
Pacquiao August 2 and 6-2 is reported to be facing WBC welterweight champion Mario Barrios later this year, a situation seemingly bolstered by the Filipino's new place within the World Boxing Council's rankings this week at number 5. This ranking means that he is eligible to challenge for the sanctioning body's belt. The former multiple-weight world champion last fought in August 2021 when he dropped a unanimous decision to the Cuban Urdanus for the World Boxing Association belt. Since then, Pacquiao has fought exhibition bouts against DKU in December 2022 and kickboxer Rukia Ampo in July 2020 for Ugas, who was 26 for at the time, melted out of title contention soon after with 2 subsequent losses.
And he made ungodly, indescribable sums of money. So I wish it were enough. But I'm not surprised that it isn't. You can't be surprised that it's isn't. There's nothing in the world. Way back when Ray Leonard was having trouble retiring, and I was friends with Ray, I asked him one time, in the closest, most intimate kind of friendship way, I said, "Ray, why is..."
Well, the first of those losses was a stoppage in 10 rounds to Errol Spence Jr., then 270. He then dropped a wide unanimous decision to Barrios in September 2023. Barrios, February 1st, 29, hails from San Antonio, Texas, and won the interim World Boxing Council title against Ugas. He has since defended it against Fabian Andres Maidan, a 20 for 240 and Abel Ramos June 2nd, 28. After winning a unanimous decision over Maidan, Barrios labored to a draw against Ramos. While nothing is yet confirmed, the volume of talk and rumor that has built in the last week around a Pacquiao return is highly suggestive that such an offering is in the works. On his podcast, The Fight with Teddy Atlas, Atlas voiced his worries for Pacquiao given his age, how he looked in his last fight versus Urdanus Ugas in 2021 and his exhibition bout against Rukia Ampo in 2020. For "I'm very concerned," Atlas said, he don't want to stop anyone from making a living or making money.
One of my favorite people, one of my favorite fighters in the whole world. He's moved up from incredible weight. People forget about that. That's why I brought it up. How many weight classes this man has really moved up. Incredible. Just incredible. But now, yeah, Barrios wouldn't be as big as those other guys, but he's still a guy that's confident. He's a guy that's a world champion. He's a guy who throws a lot of punches. He's a guy who's younger, who's active.
But I'm very concerned with a guy, a great man, who's helped his people, who's fought for his people, who's lifted his people up, who's given away money to his people, but he gave away money to his people that is in a position now that he has to fight at 46, and after 72 fights, Pacquiao 46 looked his age in a unanimous decision loss too. Ugas, who was a late replacement for former unified welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr., after he withdrew from the fight due to an eye injury suffered in training, the former 8-division champion also struggled mightily in his exhibition bout. Against Ano, who is a kickboxer, Barrios 30 faced Ugas in 2023, dropping him twice en route to winning the WBC interim welterweight title by unanimous decisions, till Mikey Garcia couldn't suppress his excitement about the potential spectacle of a victorious Manny Pacquiao comeback, likening it to historic triumphs by George Foreman and Bernard Hopkins, stating, "But if he can pull this off, then damn, just like Foreman, you know, like Hopkins, he's already a legend. As it is, it would just be the cherry on top." And that's all for now. Subscribe to our YouTube account to get the latest news, events, and actions in the world of boxing. Don't forget to turn on notifications to be notified when we post more great videos like this one. Until next time.